require quests.
That's hilarious.
Updated will now be properly
Is that egg?
Now moving on to
That's
some general fixes, and again, everything pretty much.
You got the heater on, right?
It's like bugs.
Good.
And we're not getting a lot of rubes out there going over all these things, but we got to cover the bugs because someone out there is experiencing it and is waiting on a fix. Now, the general bugs that are being fixed in collections that playing with odds, game, and emeralds will now properly register as unlocked and can be reacquired accordingly. Fixing issues have an impact unveiling triumph. Air is now ready to present her final lore entry to players who need it. The unveiling lore triumph now greatly reads number 11 lore pieces and will unlock upon obtaining the final piece. It's an issue where certain randomized dialogue would play more or less frequently than intended. Fix an issue that was causing notifications to appear after transferring items using the BNet D2 API. Oh my god. Dude, I'm happy about that one, right? Just transfer something from Destiny Item Manager and you've got all these notifications that pop up randomly. Improve performance when receiving certain messages from the server. The largest impact will be in the tower, but should help everywhere. Fix an issue that caused FOTL items to be stuck in the Postmaster as invisible items for some players. Alright guys, those are the bug fixes. Now, moving on to what it is I wanted to bring up. So, as you know, Ginter, he's like the community hacker, right? Pretty much sees what's going on inside of Bungie's API, picks through all the code, and tells us what's to come. So far, and again, I am simply the messenger here, but it has been data mined that Trials is returning next season. I believe this is pulled directly from his Discord. The first line here states that it provides tremendous support for the restoration efforts and rekindle the lighthouse, usher in a new age of Guardians. Then he's got the word worthy underneath that, then completely restore triumph, then light the torch. And underneath it, and I guess it's kind of like puts it all together, it states, with the restoration of the lighthouse complete, Trials of Osiris and more will return in Season of the Worthy. So it's speculated right now that the next season will be called Season of the Worthy. Maybe it's not speculated, but that being confirmed, I haven't even know it. Regardless though, at some point, I guess between now and next season, we'll be restoring the lighthouse if this data is to be true, which is kind of crazy for a number of reasons. Number one, it's the lighthouse. We're not going back to that weird temple that the Nine kept trying to send us to where we would float in the air and it was just really funky. No, we're going back to the OG, baby. The OG. The lighthouse, baby. Pretty much Osiris's crib. The lighthouse just had a level of magic to it over everything else, right? It had a nice homey touch to it, a little bit of shade to keep you from burning yourself to death on Mercury. Overall, if this is to be true, and if Trials is coming back as Trials of Osiris, it'll most likely be 3v3 elimination. Considering we do have Elim in the game as it's 3v3 old school mode. And with the lighthouse coming back, you know what that means, boys. That means we're gonna have the treasure chest back. Huh? Oh, some of you don't know what the treasure chest is. It was a hell of a thing. It gave you some nasty loot, and if you went flawless, it gave you even nastier loot. So far, those are the data mines in regards to Trials. There's been some other speculation going on, or some other stuff that got data mined. Things like Twitch Prime is now gonna be giving us rewards in-game. What? My man Officer Payne in here stated that Twitch Prime rewards will come in groups of 4 each month for 6 months. The first 4 that will be released with Twitch Prime and its rewards is Suros Regime, its Ornament Coupe de Main, a Ghost Shell Skyline Flipside, and a Ship Unsecured Outcry, which will be obtained through the Twitch Prime rewards and can be picked up from Amanda Holiday. And as you see there, the top 4 items, Suros, the Weapon Ornament, as well as the Ghost Ship will be the exotics that you can obtain. And I don't really know how you obtain it. I'm assuming that you can't just go in there and get Twitch Prime and also bam, you got exotics. I wonder if it's going to be similar to something like Borderlands, right? You actually have to do something on stream with the content creator to actually obtain these things. Either way it goes, major changes, boys. Again, we'll be covering Breakneck as soon as we can get back into the game. Hopefully that'll be soon though, as Bungie's working hard right now to get these bugs fixed. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.
I told you Hard Light is the new meta? You may not believe it, and it sounds far-fetched as hell. It's only been a dream of ours since year one of Destiny 1. We've been wanting this weapon to be meta for 6 years. 6 years! And today, I'm pleased to tell you, Hard Light is most definitely one of the best weapons inside of PvP. Now first up, let's go over the sandbox changes that affected Hard Light. It was a simple change. Bungie simply adjusted the scope feedback and camera shake on Hard Light firing. Now if you used Hard Light in the past, the auto rifle essentially came with a warning as it had a very high chance of causing a seizure when you use this thing. The screen shake was terrible, and it was like the one thing that was holding this weapon back. This beautiful auto rifle had the potential to be so nasty, but was
how did he get a rocket?
potential just simply because of Bungie's design with that screen shake. Now I noticed immediately, like within the first time I shot it this morning after the patch went live, this is the most stable I have ever seen Hard Light, ever. I never could have dreamed that they would have actually made it this stable. And I know a lot of people are saying, whoa, it's still an auto rifle, man. Come on, we're not in an auto rifle meta. There's no way Hard Light could actually be a meta weapon. Yes, I'm here to tell you that if there's any auto rifle in the game that has a chance, it's Hard Light. First up, the exotic perk found on this weapon is Volatile Launch. Rounds fired from this weapon have no damage fall off. You also over-penetrate targets, and it can ricochet off of hard surfaces. Also, the projectile damage increases after the bounce. Beautiful little side perk there. Somebody happens to be around a corner, they're not peeking you, you start shooting in the room with them. Those projectiles will bounce, and if it hits them, I'm pretty sure it does like double damage. But the biggest selling point out of all of this is the fact that the weapon has no damage fall off. If there's one thing that's punishing auto rifles in this sandbox, and in even previous sandboxes, is the fact that the damage fall off there on these weapons is so severe. It's not like a hand cannon or a scout rifle where it's a single bullet that's receiving that percentage of damage fall off. It's every single bullet chopped up between many of them because it takes a lot of shots because it's an auto rifle, thus resulting in damage fall off overall, affecting auto rifles much greater as that damage fall off is much steeper. Now Hard Light is a 600 round cannon auto. It's also got things like polygonal rifling for that plus 10 in stability, Allen magazine for that faster reload when the mag is empty, and of course fundamentals, which makes Hard Light an absolute monster in match game scenarios, allowing you to actually cycle between solo, arc, and void damage by simply holding the reload button. Now the weapon seems to be more gauged toward PvE, and I do like it inside of PvE, but as you see here from the gameplay, it's absolutely disgusting inside of PvP. The weapon comes with 100 recoil direction, making this weapon super vertical. On top of that, if you happen to have the Hard Light exotic catalyst, this maxes out that stability completely. What's so crazy is a lot of this gameplay is with Hard Light on my account without the Masterwork complete. I completed it toward the end of one of my games, but I actually wanted to compare the recoil of Hard Light in the previous sandbox, Hard Light in the current sandbox by itself, and of course Hard Light in the current sandbox with that stability masterwork. So far, this is the difference between Hard Light pre 2.7.1 and Hard Light in 2.7.1. A noticeable difference. Super noticeable, guys. Maybe to the untrained eye, it might not seem as noticeable, but as someone who has played with Hard Light so much, this change is one that maybe not benefits you on the initial part of a gunfight, but toward the mid part of that gunfight, especially on the tail end. This is what's gonna win you gunfights, man. It's beautiful! Now this is Hard Light with the stability masterwork versus without. Now the stability is already pretty nice. I mean, the default stability at 69, you almost want to just leave it there, right? Like when you come across a 69 stat, you just want to leave it alone. But maxing out that stability, yes. Again, another situation where you may not seem to notice it as much on the front end, but as you see
Victory imminent. take these small team drills seriously. It's admirable.